Welcome to our podcast As One Kinesiology podcast. And today I'm excited to be interviewing Rachelle Hickson. And she is a kinesiologist, and she's been a kinesiologist since 2010. And her kinesiology business is called Rachelle Hickson Kinesiology. Her specific interests are in the body, as she was previously, in her previous life before kinesiology, was a professional contemporary dancer. So her interests lie within the body and how the body can express itself. Before, she was interested in how the body would express herself within herself through her dancing, and now she looks to see how the body can express itself within her clients and what that says and what that is saying. She specialises in women's health, the empowerment of women, and also specifically the fertility and new motherhood, since her journey began with motherhood about 3 years ago. So we're going to open it up and begin the questions. So Rachelle, you are a member of my kinesiology online meditation for kinesiology class. And I just wanted to ask, why did you say yes to joining that class? What was it about that class that interested you?
Thanks for that introduction, Debbie. That was lovely. So what drew me to your course was really something I'd actually been thinking about and talking about with a few different kinesiologists for a while, was this trend in my practice where I was finding that I wasn't doing so many techniques on people anymore. I was holding space and maybe just doing some gentle balancing cranial work or holding different acupressure points and guiding them deeper into themselves. And I was just wondering why that shift was happening and how I could refine that and understand that a bit more. And when I started to talk to some of my other kinesiologist friends, they were feeling a really similar shift was happening in their practice as well. And then your course just kind of popped up in my inbox and I was like, yes, that's what I need. I just need to refine what I'm offering in that space of connecting my clients into their intuition, or not really connecting them, but providing them with a space for themselves to connect in with their deeper self. So it was really divine timing in a way. I was looking for it and you appeared.
Wonderful. I love that. It always is in perfect universal timing, isn't it? That the right things actually appear. I love that. And that's exactly what it is, isn't it? And this is what I talk about in the course too, about that new paradigm in kinesiology where we're no longer just doing things to our clients, we're actually holding space for them to actually feel it and connect into that for themselves. Is that what you're finding?
Definitely. Yes. Yeah, it's such a powerful space for them to step into as well.
Absolutely. Because ultimately we are, and this is something again that we talk about in the course a lot, we are all energy first and matter second. So it is connecting through that energy space to be able to hold that vibration, to allow that space for our client to connect up and to be able to explore their own higher vibration through that, away from their stories and dramas that are going on in their life. So what has your experience of the course been? Have you enjoyed it? What has been some highlights or maybe even some lowlights, some challenges or anything around the actual experience of the course, Rachelle?
I've really enjoyed the course. It's worked really well with my lifestyle with 2 young children. It's a manageable amount of work that I can fit into my week, and I look forward to my Tuesday evening when I can put on my headphones and connect in with myself and with you and the other members of the group. I've particularly enjoyed the different types of meditations, you call them standard meditations, that you've offered us, because some of them are things I've already sort of explored before, but you've just given me something a bit more tangible, like a template to work with. But others have been new, which I've really enjoyed. I really enjoyed your forgiveness meditation, and that has been really powerful. I actually shared it at one of my visioning workshops just on the weekend, and it was really powerful. So thank you for that one. I meant to tell you that. It was when I first did it myself, it was quite challenging, but I could feel afterwards how powerful it was. So I've been exploring that one quite a bit more.
Nice. I mean, again, as what we say in the course a lot, what we experience as we go through these meditations, and specifically that forgiveness one, because it is a commitment that we make to do the forgiveness over the 40-day period, our clients are going to experience the same thing because what we experience, they will experience. We are all one and we are all connected in that space. So to be able to actually have that first hand experience of what it actually is and what it means to do this, and the commitment and the excuses or the distractions or the things that come up around that space, it's so powerful to be in that space because then you can guide your clients and help them through their own process of doing it.
Definitely. And I love that you really encourage us to really step into experiencing and committing to our own practice. Because I mean, that's what I really enjoyed when I first studied kinesiology as well, is that you had your workbooks that you had to take home, you had to practice it on, 20,000 different people, the one thing, and it felt quite mundane at the time. But then afterwards, you're like, oh, no, I really embodied that. And that's what then allows you, when you become a bit more experienced, to move through things much faster and with greater ease. So I feel like it's the same thing here, is when I commit to my own meditation practice, that is, of course, then going to help my clients and allow me to go deeper with my clients in the balances.
Absolutely. And the way that I've set up this course, it's not just about me giving you the information and it just being another course that you put on your shelf with a certificate and you think, yeah, I did that, tick the box. It's not that space at all. It's much more of a space of you actually dropping into it and actually owning it and embodying it, just like we want our clients to do when they come in. We don't want them to come in for a session and it be lovely for the hour and they walk out feeling fantastic, but then life continues to happen and they slip down again. But it has to be that daily focus, that daily practice, that daily commitment. And that brings in that spiritual stamina, that spiritual self esteem, which is what my ideal aim for all of the students on the course to have, is to build themselves up in that space so they can see it, so they can be that demonstration for their clients and help their clients to move forward. So well done. That's self devotion is a big one. So what sort of self devotion do you do?
I really began with yoga. When I was doing my dancing, I did a lot of yoga, and that is still something that really supports me and has supported me through pregnancies and postnatal periods. But as I've been progressing my yoga practice, it's definitely shifted more into that meditation space as well. Do Kundalini yoga and some chanting and mantra work, and a lot of breath work more recently as well, which I'm really enjoying. But of course, with young children, that devotion practice can be quite limited. And that's why I guess the breath work and the meditation, you can just simply drop in for a few minutes, and that can be enough, as opposed to doing a full hour's yoga practice or something like that. So at the moment, my main self devotion work is really just quick snippets of dropping in and connecting to my breath and to my heart, and grounding myself is really important. So getting barefoot on our grass and just taking a few deep breaths and reconnecting.
Yeah, yeah, and that's really powerful in itself because ultimately we're not, Buddhist monks sitting on the side of the mountain and with, hours and hours to meditate. That's not our lives, that we are in this life. So it's seeing where you can fit it in, and I love that because I mean, at the moment you do have a sick little 8-month old, so it's finding these little pockets, and even through the sicknesses and the things that happen with the kids because they continue to happen, but just finding those little pockets of a minute or 2 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever that looks like by just breathing into that space, connecting into your breath. I love that because as soon as you just drop into your breath, it just allows everything else to just melt away because you're in your world within the world. And sometimes that's in the world amongst a whole, hurricane going on around you. But that's okay. That's okay because that's where the peace is. That's where the love is. That's where the connection is within ourselves. It's not on the outside.
Yeah, definitely. And I have done a lot since having Harrison, my second, a lot of meditations with him asleep on my chest, which is great because I think he gets the benefit from that calmer space as well.
You definitely would be. Absolutely, because he's picking up on your energies. I love that. So tell me, just talking about you as a kinesiologist, so what makes you unique as a kinesiologist?
Hmm, I guess it is this desire and awareness to help people connect to their higher self. I don't feel like I am a healer or that I want to fix people or that there is anything indeed wrong with people. What I'm interested in is helping them clear out the stuff that gets in the way of them being connected into their best self. And I think because do have a deep belief that we are all pretty amazing, that I can really share that faith in our, I guess, humanity or in ourself, because so many of my clients don't believe in themselves anymore and just feel like they're chasing their tails and they're striving for this ideal of perfection or something, which is always, well, not always, but generally coming back to this self doubt or feeling not worthy or not good enough. And personally, I just don't buy into that. So I'm really dedicated to helping them to find that belief in themselves again. And so it's not about me fixing them or healing them, it's about helping them to step into their power. Yeah, I'm pretty committed to that.
Nice. I love that because I mean, that whole healer paradigm is about us holding all of the answers and holding all of the keys for
Yeah, no, I don't.
that.
But I do at the same time. It's like when I'm connected, I can find those answers, but for myself, not necessarily always for them.
Yeah, it's a fine, well, it's a fine dance that we do, bringing dance back into it with our clients because we are there to lead them, to help them to understand for themselves so they can take that ownership and that responsibility on and accountability, I suppose, as well.
Definitely. And I think I've found that as my practice has evolved, that it's definitely about that, about accountability and giving the power back to the client rather than, I mean, a lot of people do come in wanting that quick fix or wanting almost a guarantee that this will give them whatever that they're looking for, whether that's a health issue or an emotional, mental challenge that they've been facing. And they do sort of want you to be able to sort of say, yeah, I can fix you. But, and I get that, I've wanted that at times, many times as well. But ultimately, kinesiology is so powerful at clearing those stresses or those energetic blockages that really are just getting in the way of us being in our fullness, which is then, I guess, where the health comes in and the vitality drops back in. So it's not so much about fixing or healing, it's just clearing out. I think it's like a good letting go and a good cleanse to get rid of all of the stuff that might be clouding their deeper knowings, and how you describe that heart space and the intuitive space that is then where they can access their knowings and their visions and, I guess, their power.
Absolutely. Tapping into their own well of their own power within. And I really do love the whole space and the flow of kinesiology with this whole meditation holding space for our clients because kinesiology allows us to, like you said, just break down those blockages and help the client get out of their stories and get out of their drama so thick in they can't see past it. And then it gives them that almost like that glimmer of light, glimmer of hope to actually start to look within so they can, start. And it is a process because, I mean, some clients that come in are just so much into their stories and drama that they cannot see past anything that's going on, let alone connect into themselves. So we do need to allow that space to actually be the person who's muscle testing to tell them what's going on. We need to have that fine balance between the two, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And the muscle testing is so powerful because often it just reinforces what that person already kind of knew, but they just didn't know it, I guess, consciously or clearly. And then you'll say, oh, well, this is showing up. And they're like, oh, of course that's showing up. I knew that, but I just didn't know it, That's, I guess, the power of the muscle testing, to really reinforce and to provide that clarity when we are in that space of real great stress and upheaval, which we all get into that. And the kinesiology can, help us through those big states of change and those big healings as they come up, as opposed to needing it to fix. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes perfect sense. It's like you're speaking to my heart. It's perfect because it's exactly what you're saying. It's a fine balance, and some people need it more than others, but it's just giving them that space to actually connect in for themselves, and take ownership and take responsibility. Because, if we're told to do something or to think something or to feel something, we're not as likely to take it on if it's not our own idea and we've embodied it ourselves and we know it ourselves. So it's opening that space up, which is really cool. So let me ask you, Rachelle, then what would be, for all the kinesiologists out there listening, what would be your biggest piece of advice for them in their own practice as a kinesiologist? What would be your biggest advice for them?
The word that's just coming through is listen. I always take the time to really listen and talk to my clients at the start of every session. Listen to them and really hear that story if they need to share that story. Hear it once, and then I guess the listening on the table as well, and listen to where that body is leading you. And then now with this new paradigm, as you said, that we're stepping into, listen to their highest self as it begins to speak through the session.
Exactly. Because everything in our life is all interconnected and all as one, actually taking that on board for ourselves as well and starting to take time out to listen to our own higher consciousness, taking time out to hear what our heart is saying and what we're needing in that moment as well. And sometimes clients do just need to be heard, and that's okay. It's all part of the process.
Definitely. I mean, our lives are so busy and we're just racing around that there's not always that time to be heard. And particularly, if they've been seeing doctors and specialists, they might get 10 minutes or 15 minutes with these doctors that are giving them these, diagnoses, and they haven't really been heard as a whole being. And I think that's what makes holistic healthcare different, is that we generally allow a bit more time and we can really see the person as their whole being. It's not just about their sore, digestive system or whatever that is. It's about their whole being and listening to the wholeness of that person.
Yeah, because we are. We're not just one part, we are the whole, we are one. Is there anything else that you would like to say or to bring up before we finish off the podcast?
I would like to say thank you to you, Debbie, because it has been really great for me personally, with 2 young kids, and to still feel like I could be developing my practice. So I love this format that you're offering, that now we can do this sort of training online, and it is so powerful in its simplicity, which is what I need in my life right now. And I think most of us would agree that the power of connecting into our heart and into our intuition as both a practitioner, but also, as you said, as an individual, that message can't be heard enough, really, can it? So it's great that you're offering this to us and that we can all start to spread this through the whole kinesiology world, because I completely agree that the paradigm of the guru or the healer and the student is shifting, or has shifted. So kinesiology needs to shift with that. And we need to really allow ourselves to work out how to do this holding space business that people talk about all the time. But you can say, oh yes, I hold the space, but what is that? And I feel like your course has given me something more tangible to actually know what that is, and not necessarily how to do it, because I think I already knew how to do it, but just to have a more conscious understanding of what it is and perhaps different ways to do it that I wasn't aware of.
Thank you so much for your kind words. It's been a real honour to have you on the course and a privilege to walk this path with you, side by side together, and see you, just step into it more and more. So thank you. It's a real privilege. That comes to an end now of our podcast. I will put up a link for Rachelle's webpage, and if you've got social media links as well, I'll pop them all up on my webpage so you can access and have a look more into Rachelle and see what sort of work she offers. And I'm sure, I don't know, Rachelle, will you be open to other kinesiologists connecting in with you if they've got any questions or anything about the podcast? Would that be okay?
Yeah, definitely.
Excellent. And if you've got any questions or anything, then let either Rachelle or myself know. Thank you for this podcast today, Rachelle. I sincerely value and appreciate it in so many ways. And I think it's just a powerful space to bring all of us kinesiologists. Often we get caught up that we work within our own little clinic room and we do our own little thing and we're sort of segmented from the bigger group. But I think now it's so important that we just all connect in together as one, moving together in that connectedness, and that space through the heart is so powerful. It's a really exciting times in the kinesiology field.
Definitely. I completely agree. Thank you.